Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome back to the Chocolate Squad. Today we're going to be tackling a harmful stereotype that's been around for far too long, the idea that black women are masculine. This stereotype is not only false, but it's also damaging. So let's debunk this together once and for all. So for starters, a little preface. Black women are not a monolith, but we do represent each other. The idea of I don't represent anybody but myself that you hear amongst celebrities like Suki Hana and Sexy Red. They say those kinds of things, but it's truly a fallacy. If we're being 100% for real, the women, everyday women on the street, represent black women more than the celebrities do, because that's the ones that people see the most. That's the ones that people can judge the whole population on the most, even though obviously that's bad, but that's human nature. That's what we do. I mentioned that in a previous video. I believe it's called "Why We as Black Women Should Wear Our Natural Hair," and how the women in the street, the everyday black women, should be wearing it more because they represent us a lot more than the people in the media. I like to think about it like this. Imagine that you lived in a town with 10 black people, and let's say one of them were a thief. And you see in the movies that there was a thieving black person. You wouldn't automatically assume, yeah, that's like all the black people in my town, all black people are thieves. Yeah, because there's only one out of 10. That's 10%. That's really small amount. Let's say there's two, still a small amount. So you wouldn't see what you saw on that movie and equate it to what you see in real life. But if there was five, six, seven black people out of the 10, then you'll be more inclined to believe that, oh, this movie is telling the truth. This is how it is. Black people are thieves. That's kind of how it is. The movie, sure, it does, it can portray a certain group in a negative light, but what you see in real life with the everyday people has more of an impact. Unless you live in a place where there isn't that many, for example, black people, white people, Asian people, of course, the movies tend to be your only representation of them until you meet one of your own, like in real life. We are aware that hood people exist. Well, this channel is specifically about women, so I'm gonna say hood black women exist. And this is due to the fact that black people tend to be the poorest demographics in countries like America, Canada, Britain, United Kingdom, whatever. And because of that, there are disproportionately more hood black women than hood white women. This does not take away from the fact that black women are diverse and can have many different personality types and aesthetics and attitudes. It's just the fact that there are a lot disproportionately more hood black women. That's the reason why black women tend to get that masculine label, even though it's again due to what I said before, the fact that the people who are normally saying that are black men, especially black men who grew up in the ghetto, in the hood, so they were around these women their whole life. And then you get it being echoed by white people who probably aren't around people who are like that, like hood black women. So they hear it from black men and they just echo it. That's how it spreads, and the notion that black women are masculine. And then obviously in the media, they post hood black women who embody these stereotypes of the masculine and the violent, even though that I'm pretty sure that's not the majority of women. I would highly doubt that that's the majority of women. Personally, I don't live in the hood, so I generally see a vast array of different types of black women, and I can always keep an open mind, especially the fact that I'm a black woman myself. I know that, of course, I don't embody these masculine stereotypes. I've been doing some research into some statistics of single parent homes and how prevalent they are in America, just to try and crack down on the reason why the masculinity or masculine traits may be prevalent amongst certain black women. And this is a study from 2012, so it may be a bit outdated, but the only one I could find was from the 1900s. It was like 1990 something. So this is the most recent one that I could find on short notice. So it said 57.6% of black children live in fatherless homes compared to 20.7% of white children living there. And that was really eye opening due to the fact that black children in America are 2.5 times more likely to live in a fatherless home than a white child. That's the reason why I believe more masculinity and more masculine traits exist amongst some black women, a few of them. My reasoning is that when you see all of these dating coaches and all of that on YouTube, they say masculine roles are to provide and protect, and women's feminine roles are to nurture. When you're a single mother, you have to do both of those. So you're doing masculine things and feminine things. You're providing for and protecting your children whilst trying to nurture them at the same time. And especially if you are a single parent, you have to do all of the work, as in like going to work, so you will have less time to spend with your children, which is the reason why they tend to be more masculine than other women. Though obviously you can establish a balance, but a lot of people can't do that, so they just default into a more masculine mindset because they were never really given the chance to be feminine and take more of a solely nurturing and that kind of role within the household. They have to do both. Something that's also viewed as a masculine trait in women is the fact that they say that they don't need men. And I think as well that may come from the fact that they've seen their mom do their dad's job and her job at the same time. So they realize, oh, if my mom can do it, I can do it. So I don't need anybody but myself. I feel like that's where it would come from. Regardless, this concept of black women, all black women being masculine, which is obviously false, the whole misconception has origins from slavery. And I know people don't like to hear about slavery, saying that's a long time ago, but these generational things can be passed down throughout society. And that's how it ends up where we are right now. And I know you hear my accent, you know that I'm British, so you may be wondering what's American slavery got to do with a Brit? Well, America, I don't know, some people don't like to admit it, but they're really one of the most they're really the hub. I don't know how to explain it. Everything that Americans do, everybody else knows. So everything that happens in America gets reflected on other countries and people who look like them from other countries. For example, Black Americans, how they are perceived. It also translates to Black British people, some Black Africans, I guess, in some certain parts, maybe like South Africa, where it's more diverse there. It's got Black people, white people, Indian people. But either way, the stereotype of black women being masculine has roots in slavery and colonialism, where black women were often dehumanized and depicted as physically strong to justify their exploitation. This perception of being physically strong is still prevalent nowadays, especially when it comes to healthcare. A lot of us may have heard that black women have higher childbirth mortality rates, as in like they die during childbirth more often than like white people and Asian people, but some people don't even realize how bad it is. Black women are more than 3 times as likely to die from pregnancy related causes as white women. The maternal mortality rates for black women is 55.3 deaths per 100,000 compared to 19.1 for white women. That shows us that black women are 3 times as likely to die from pregnancy than white women. A significant portion of these deaths are actually preventable. Studies suggest that up to 80% of maternal deaths among black women could be prevented with appropriate medical care and intervention. Medical racism and like biases contribute to the higher mortality rates, and black women often report not being listened to or taken seriously by healthcare providers, which can like lead to delayed treatment. I hear a lot of stories on TikTok about people sharing their experiences with the healthcare system and how they're not taken seriously, their pain. When they complain about pain going on, the doctors don't really like to prescribe them pain meds because of the whole notion that black women are strong and they can handle it. It does actually extend further like than the childbirth itself. Black women are also 3.5 times more likely to experience late maternal deaths. So that's like between 6 weeks and 1 year after you give birth to the baby compared to white women. So 3.5 times as likely to die during that period. Okay, so I just wanted to move on to the topic of femininity and highlight the fact that it's not a one size fits all kind of concept. Femininity ranges from person to person and like culture to culture. There's light femininity, dark, soft. The point is that it's something ingrained in you, and it's no good hiding it under non-textured weaves and wigs or heavy makeup. I know some people love to have like fun with makeup, but there are those who choose to hide their beauty and their femininity under makeup because they don't see it. They don't see their beauty. But people always say this, and it probably seems a bit cliche and outdone, but you don't realize how beautiful you are because you get used to your face. You don't realize how beautiful you are. But when somebody else sees you freshly, they, of course, aren't used to your beauty. So it's more, I don't know how to explain it. You're more beautiful than you think you are. Let me just say that. And Some people, they feel insecure because maybe they can't see that beauty, so they choose to hide it under heavy makeup and use that to change their features. For example, something that I see a lot right now is a heavily contoured nose. Don't get me wrong, I'm not against makeup. You can use makeup if you want, but the notion of it being used as a way to change your features rather than enhance, you people need to heal from that and learn to accept their features and enhance them rather than hide them. When I searched up feminine black women, a wide range of different shades, hair textures, hair lengths came up. I'll put some of them on the screen. One thing that they tended to have in common was the fact that they either wore their natural hair or they wore braids. And that's why I made that video before about embracing your natural hair, because your natural hair is part of your femininity, no matter the length. Because obviously there's people who wear short hair and people who prefer longer hair. Straight hair, that's white women's femininity, that's Asian women's femininity, because that's what they naturally have. But black women's femininity lies in our crown. As well, that's only part of it. Obviously there's a lot more to it, but part of it is our hair and how we use it to express ourselves. Something that people tend to do, and it's really annoying, is conflating physical strength and femininity. A good example of this is Serena Williams. And if you don't know who she is, she's a tennis player and she's really strong. So because of that, people like to equate her to a man or to specific animals. And obviously that is really misleading and implies that physical strength takes away from a woman's femininity, which is incorrect. And athleticism and physical strength does not negate femininity. Many women, regardless of race, are both strong and feminine. So what we can do in order to tackle these harmful stereotypes is educate people and raise awareness about them. If you feel strongly enough about it, you could make a YouTube channel to further spread the message and debunk the harmful stereotypes. Or on a smaller level, you could even just tell people around you whenever you hear them say terms like strong black woman, even though they may mean it as mentally strong, these are still the kind of terms that are used against us in the medical field because they perceive black women as stronger, so that they assume that we don't need enough, that we don't need pain medicine, and they don't take our pain seriously in those kinds of fields. By stopping the spread of these harmful stereotypes and raising awareness about them, we could hopefully improve the lives of black women as a whole in terms of how we get treated in society with regards to the masculinization. We could also support media consumption that highlight people who look like us in a feminine kind of light. For example, I just had a long exam season, so I wasn't listening to much music, but now I'm off. Like the exam season is over. I'm going to start listening to that Normani album. If you have listened to it, feel free to comment down below on how you found it. Did you like it? Did you not like it? Was there certain parts that you liked more than others? I'm curious. And lastly, what we could do is speak up. I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but when black women speak up for other people, for example, black men, at rallies and stuff, then we're activists. But when we speak up for ourselves and the treatments that we receive from society, whether that includes black people as a whole, what we receive from them, for some reason we are painted as bitter and masculine, so they're gonna dislike us regardless. So we might as well stand up for ourselves and what we believe in. Anyway, that's all from me. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to like and subscribe. And if you'd want to be notified on future uploads, make sure you press the bell button as well. Comment down below if there's anything you thought I could expand on, or there's something that you want me to clarify. Maybe I didn't explain it as well as I could have. Feel free to comment down below. Thank you. Bye.